Тобто вже включено чи ще ні?
Я Інстаграм теж?
Давай.
Там вже є лайв на Ютубі і все.
То що, я вже живий?
Живий.
Живіший всіх живих?
А ви це замучені тут чи ще?
Вроді ще ні.
Ще звук не йде, так?
Напевно, вже йде. Тарас Щепаняк. Чи ми вже лайв?
Так, і в Zoom, і на Ютубі.
Добре. Скільки у нас людей там і там?
Що ми будемо цих чи будемо?
Давай не будемо. Чуєш, а цей, тут зараз я прошу Мазурука, він колишній посол в Канаді протягом 6 років.
Замість переливати.
Він
Він нічого не написав. Ну, я говорю, прочитав, нічого не
я його, вони просто зараз зайшли, глянуть на поварню, я просто прошу, щоб я відкрию, скажу, що тут є там наш партнер.
Час.
У мене такий по овну.
Так, супер. У них є 20 хвилин.
Ага.
Згідно плану.
Окей, супер, добре. Отже, Тарас, можеш сказати, скільки у нас вже є глядачів?
В Zoom 6, в Ютубі починають доєднуватися. Зараз наразі 2.
Що, починаємо, так?
Так.
А?
5 минут, а второго осталось.
Вас там не заважати.
Так. Okay, so here I am, Yuri Zastavny, and we have our Victory Brew number 3 we have our Victory Brew number 3 from Lviv in the western part of Ukraine. This is 5:08 p.m. here. This is the early evening in Lviv. We are starting our Victory Brew number 3, and we are brewing the beer called Putin Huilo or Putin the Pighead. Our translation will last for 2 hours, and my stage here is shared with several people. First of all, we have here our head brewer Igor Cherkov. We have our brewer of today, our actual brewer who does today's batch, Dima Antonov. And we are joined here by 2 people who will help me kick this off. My partner, Yurko Nazaruk, and also Andriy Shevchenko. Andriy Shevchenko was an ambassador of Ukraine in Canada for 6 years. Now he coordinates the media center on the 4th level of Pravda Beer Theater, where all the media come together to discuss what happens now in Ukraine. Media safely residing now in West Ukraine. So we will have, as I said, we will have 2 hours here. We will have different speakers here. Some speakers already responded to our requests. Some people are going to join a little bit later. I'd like to give the floor to my partner Yurko Nazaruk. Just remember, he's a co-owner. He's a co-owner of Ukraine's biggest restaurant chain, and also he's the mastermind behind the concepts of most of these restaurants. The group, it's called Fest, and it's also busy, except restaurants, it's also busy with book publishing, residential construction, chocolate manufacturing. He's also my partner in the brewery, and I just would like Yurko to say a few words about where we are and what we do.
Hello, thank you very much for the attention to us. At first, I want to say for me it's a great pleasure and honor to speak to you, because I understand that such a brewery society in the world, we are connected not only by the beer, but still by the love, by the passion, and we can understand each other better than sometimes people who are maybe have connection closer in one country. So, we will never even dream about such a situation that we have today in Ukraine. And we, till this time, I think, don't believe in this, that in the center of Europe, some airplane can drop the bomb to the children and women that are dying on our eyes. And we, everybody who are here, we decided to be here to the end and to fight for our country. And for us, it's very important that everybody who are now joining this co-brewing, they feel the same things, and they support us with these batches and support us with their thoughts and support with your ideas, and every beer that will appear after these breweries will say some more words to the world. So thank you very much. And I believe that every bottle will be the best bottle of the beer in the world in this time. And I definitely believe that every bottle will be not only the bottle of the really good beer, but also with the taste of the freedom. That freedom we are fighting for this today. So thank you very much. And I would like to invite my friend, Andriy, Your Excellence.
Hello, my name is Andriy Shevchenko, which is a brandy football name in this country. And I am a former Ukrainian ambassador to Canada. And right now I'm coordinating the Media Center Ukraine here in Lviv. And Pravda Brewery was very generous to offer its venue for this Media Center Ukraine. I should tell you that it's quite a temptation to be in that building without a chance to drink wonderful beer they produce right now. But every journalist that is here in Lviv knows that the day will come when we all are going to drink wonderful beer produced in Lviv to our victory. Using this chance, I would like to say everyone around the world who follows news from Ukraine, and it goes a long way. Every word of support and everything that is done to support Ukraine, whether you just talk to your government or you just wave Ukrainian flag or you produce Ukrainian beer or you find the Ukrainian partner, that is a sign of support to us. And I also say that it's very impressive to be here right now. And I think it requires a lot of professionalism and courage to do your job professionally under these circumstances. So these guys that are brewing beer right now, they're doing this in between airstrike sirens here in Lviv, and we have checkpoints around us. And obviously, we keep following news about the battleground combat, real-time situations every moment. So I can only imagine how good this beer should be once it's produced. And one last thing, we all want you to know that Ukraine is not just a country where right now this battle between the good and the evil is happening, but also it's a very fun place to be. It's a country of wonderful people. We know how to spend good time. And we do hope that once we get through this terrible war, after the victory, there will be a lot of very good days and nights here in Ukraine. And I hope every one of you will use every legitimate opportunity to come over and to spend some time with us. So thanks for watching this. Again, I would like to acknowledge these extraordinary people around me for doing what they are doing and stand with us.
Thank you, Yurko and Andrei. So I'm Iho, head brewer of Pravda Brewery, and let's speak about beer a little bit. So what we are brewing today, try to guess. Yeah, it's Putin. Not him, but we are brewing Putin Khuilo beer. Taras, is it possible to turn on the chat? And I can see questions here. Taras.
Там збоку є кнопочка чат. Наразі там питань
I
немає.
can see. Thank you. Cool. Hi, Corey. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So if you have any questions, you can put it in chat and we'll try to answer them. So Putin Khuilo. This beer exists more than 7 years, I guess. Yeah, it was one of the first beer styles we started brew here, and it's Belgian style strong ale. Yes, and we decided to dry hop it with some, I guess, floral hop, and we choose sapphire. I guess Corey, you did it, yeah. Also, we use barrel for aroma and magnum for bitterness here. Yeah, you did. Yeah, it's a simple sugar, a white sugar, because the recipe tells us that we should use, yeah. So, do you have any questions about beer? I guess Putin Khuilo is one of the most popular beer now here. I know the funny story is that the rate in one of beer lovers' social media was increased because of that's how beer community try to support us. And now Putin Khuilo is one, I guess, the most popular and the most rated beer we have in this social media. It's a funny story because here, to be honest, we don't, take a lot about rates because we think that beer is made to drink, not to rate it. Okay, now we have boiling. 15 minutes left. Yeah, we have 15 minutes to boil. And then we'll do beer pool and then transfer. So, what questions do you have? Dry hop, I think, cool water tea once I get to the brewery. Cool, Dylan. We'll use Sapphire as well. I guess people from Hopsteiner or Basshaus should thank us for making Sapphire popular. With brewing Putin all over the world. It's a joke. I will check if we have any questions on YouTube or Instagram. Zhenya, stop calling me because I'm online. And if you have questions, write them in chat. So no questions. What is going on here at Beer Community? So today we asked our friends to join us online to speak about how it's going on in other breweries. I guess Nazar Debat from Kiev Brewery 2075 2085 will join us in time is it? In half an hour, maybe, yeah, half an hour. And then Corey McGuinness, if you'll have a chance, will join us in hour or something like this. We asked it as well, if maybe you know, meat and cider producer called Berland. Vitaly, we asked him to join us today, but he has some troubles and cannot do this today. The pity story is that his production was destroyed by Russian occupators. Yeah, it was really good cider. Everyone drink here. Yeah, why it is. And I'm pretty sure that he will rebuild it and will drink a nice cider again. Yeah. What else? Oh, questions. Does Beyond Sapphire cool? My favorite beer, Corey, you know that. My favorite beer is all beer you did before. Bowling. To be honest, it's funny story that I'm calling a brewer, but actually last time I actually were here brewing beer was more than a year ago. Yeah, it was June. Yeah, not more than a year ago. Previous year we did turbot mash for our one of our sour beer. We started wooden barrel fermentation program last year, and we tried to do turbot mash with this equipment. It was really pain in the ass, to be honest, and but it was funny because we cannot do decoction here, but we used equipment from a restaurant located here in 20 meters. So we took first wort, brought it to the restaurant, boils and back here. So it was funny. Yeah, very funny story. But now we can, I guess, this June we'll do a first try of the first batch. We'll see. On this stage, it tastes really interesting. What temperature does the whirlpool get to in Celsius? We did measurement few year ago, and 3 times we did it, and the temperature doesn't go The minimum temperature was 94 degrees in winter. Yeah. In summer, it doesn't go under 96, 97. We do whirlpool for 20 minutes. Yeah. Start. Okay. What interesting do we have here? Yeah. Instagram and Zoom. I check chats, but because it is my responsibility to check questions. So I don't want to do my job well. Oh, coriander.
Не залили. Ну, я думаю, что не это, а там стояло, заливают спит там кеды с дрожжами. Ага. Шпинает, даже были. Пакет заваривают, вот еще. Ну, я так научил. Все шпиняет.
So we have 20 hectare brew house, and today we do. It's just one batch we do today. Just first
Today
batch?
was
Yeah,
just
and
one,
we do.
another one will be tomorrow.
Yeah, and we have 40 hectare systems there, and we'll do it in 2 days. So because of what to say, this I don't know. It's 26th day of war, and I don't know how to say it in English. It's curfew. So, and if we'll do double batch in 1 day, so we cannot feed this time limit we have. And so we decided to do it in 2 days. Yeah, that's why one batch today. We started brewing afternoon, and second batch we'll do tomorrow early in the morning to keep the like fast. Yuri is here because I have no topic to. Oh, it's a question. So I will answer the last question. You'll do. Crash and copper. Cool. Yeah, possible as well. So how we do dry hop? Just simplest way. We don't have a hop rocket. We just open. If it's for okay, it's a bit longer story. So we have 2 options. When we brew for bottle, we use re-fermentation in bottle. Nice technology. So we don't put CCT under pressure. In this case, it's easy dry hop. We just open the CCT on top, put hops, and dry hop. So if we do, if it's batch for can or for kegs, we transfer beer from one CCT to another CCT and produce it to the empty CCT. We add hops, and that's how we do dry hop for kegs and cans. We spend a lot of CO2 for this to purge CCT where beer will go to let also oxygen go. And in this case, we got, even in this case, when we transfer, we got something like 30 ppb after canning or kegging. So yeah, spending a lot of money for CO2 makes you be happy with little amount of oxygen. So Yuri.
І про заборону на продаж пивової розказували.
Ваші дуже багато.
Окей.
А дребут буде, так?
Да, він
І корі буде, так?
да. А його треба попередити за 10 хвилин.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, а ти апдейт робив, де війна? Втрати ворога казав чи ні? Ні, окей, окей. Okay. Oh, okay, so I will give you a quick update on where we are with the war. We are roughly скільки днів? 24, 22, 20. Подивишся, скільки ми днів вже в війні? 26 день. Okay, so we have 26th day of the war. We have the Russians have lost 15,300 people. They lost 509 tanks. Just imagine that figure, 509 tanks. They lost almost 1,600 armored vehicles, and they lost 99 airplanes and 123 military helicopters. The military forces of Ukraine are now enjoying a tremendous support from everyone in Ukraine. People donate their money to support the military forces. We have arms and humanitarian supplies coming in from the border with EU, which is 70 kilometers from here. And we are still fighting. Everybody's fighting his or her own fight. The volunteers fight their own fight. We as brewers, we fight our own fight. The army fights its own fight. And we hope that this will end soon. But before it ends, there is no talking of compromise on behalf of the Ukrainians. We lost many civilians. We lost many kids, innocent people, and we cannot let it go like this. We should retaliate. We should get the enemy. We should get the enemy killed, wounded, thrown out of this country. Every Ukrainian is absolutely and totally enraged. This is something that in such scale never happened on this territory except the Second World War. But this was a totally different story. So we are fighting. It's on the 26 states, mostly a position war. The Russians are running out of steam, and they resort to cowardly bombings, airstrikes. In Lviv today, we had at least 3 or 4 air alarms, where when you have to really go to the basement and hide. We had an air alarm when we brewed last time. We continued brewing because we feel certain safety here. It's our brewery is in a former glass factory, so it's thick walls, and it gives us relative safety. So this is where we are with the war at this point of time. Lviv now is a refuge for many people from all over Ukraine. You can see it visibly. You can see many cars of different number plates from all over Ukraine. Even in remote areas of the city, you really see crowds of people in the parks. It's a very nice weather today in Lviv. And if it was not for the news, and it was not for so many people, and if it was not for the crowded city, you would feel that this is a day like normal, nice spring day. And this is, but we should remember that in many villages, in many cities around this country, the military forces, the territory defense forces, the volunteers are fighting their fight. There is a non-stop stream of people, women and children and elderly people from the east to the west, leaving the dangerous areas, and some of them stay in West Ukraine, some of them go on to Poland and other West European countries. However, there is also a stream of people back. I saw the figures that about Contrary to the stream outside, about 400,000 people have entered the country since the invasion. About 80% of them are men who are going back from their jobs in Germany, UK, Italy, Portugal, Spain, and it's about 320,000 people. It's a huge army of people, of men, who stream back into the country with one purpose: to fight or to help fight.
Ти трохи його розказував трошки, так? Так.
Окей. А ти розказував про історію, як вона з'явилася? Yeah, окей, я розкажу. Так. Okay, so Igor told you a couple of words about hi Naz. Hi Nazar.
Hi.
Hi. We are joined by Nazar Drebot, our fellow brewer from Kyiv. He will be talking to us soon. Just once I finish a small story about Putin Khuylo beer. Are you ready, Nazar? More or less?
Yes, I am.
Super. Okay, so just a couple of minutes. I'll give a little bit of a story about how this beer came about.
Sure.
First of all, I'd like to start with information about a Ukrainian graphic designer and a painter, Andriy Yermolenko. He's a very talented guy. He's very educated and he's very forthcoming in his opinions. Very active guy on social media, and a talented graphics guy. And we have asked him for several labels. I think as many as 4 labels. And Putin Khuylo is one of these labels. It's really self-explanatory. It's probably a little bit too many details for a beer label. So if you really zoom in onto it, you will see quite a lot of details. But the story now is about how this beer first appeared. We were still brewing in our older location in the city center, where we had basically a huge brew pub. And we suddenly we didn't have electricity to finish our brew, and our beer had to stay like several hours. Don't remember exactly, but 2 to 3 hours. Our beer was stuck in the boiling. I think at the stage of boiling. Tina, do you remember it was boiling or it was filtration when we brewed Silla and it got stuck because of electricity? You were not there, no?
Where? Huh? In the Renax there?
Yeah,
Boiling.
yeah. So we got stuck at boiling. So our beer turned out. It was like a good quality product. It was an okay beer, but it was too far from the original. And the original beer had to be Belgian strong ale. Had to be actually it had to be a classical triple beer, like the way you have. I can't say Westmalle triple because we still need to grow up a little bit for this beer. But like it's a classical Belgian triple with a bit of coriander and a little bit of black pepper. But because the beer was stuck in boiling for many hours, we decided to further change the beer to make the gap between the original intention and this beer a bit bigger. And we decided to spice it up by dry hopping. And we went downstairs to our cold room where we store hops, and we just picked up, I think 6 kilograms. I think we had left in one of the hop bags. We had 6 kilograms of Sapphire, so we just got Sapphire and used it to dry hop this beer. And this is how Putin Khuylo, the dry hop Belgian strong beer, was born. Eventually, we changed the yeast to further increase the gap between the original beer we intended to brew and this beer. And so we had this dry hopped Belgian style strong ale. Okay, so here we are. We are with Nazar Drebot. He is the co-owner and the inspiration behind a small but nice and rebellious brewery. It's called 2085. Nazar, over to you.
Hi, guys. As you already introduced me, my name is Naz, 2085 Brewery, Kyiv, Ukraine. So what can I tell about what's the main purpose of this streaming? In Kiev, we have bombing probably like every 2 or 3 hours. Something is going on, and here right now I have this message that it's going on right now, but I'm not afraid anymore. Just like sitting here waiting for going to territorial forces later on this night, but still Kiev is safe. I think it's safe because of our troops, of our army, and I don't know how to explain the whole community, like the everything that is going on. It's total support worldwide, and we feel this support. We feel safe, but probably it's illusion of safety. But still, just please ask me the question that you want to hear to be answered. Like,
I saw a story, and you told that you're gonna brew beer. So have you done? Is it-
Not yet, but we're gonna brew pretty soon. Because first of all, we are trying to export the beer that we have in stock just to support economy of Ukraine. It's really important for us, and we are working on it. And after that, we probably gonna start brewing again. It's not safe, and right in this moment, it's not allowed to go outside in the city because of military time. But still, we are not giving up. We are definitely going to go further and not quitting.
Have you any ideas about what you're gonna brew? Something from your main line, or you have some fresh idea inspired by this situation?
Probably not not the main core beers. It's gonna be open source collaboration that we already started, like you guys did. We did it 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, 10 days ago, and it's already like 25 breweries involved. It's a Keller beer, so it's like a young lager, and we have this open source collaboration involving all the breweries worldwide. Now we have a lot of breweries from USA and Europe, and I think 2 in Georgia. And it's a Keller beer in 2 ways. So it's young lager with a dry hops, and a young lager just like a cellar beer, German style, was like noble hops. And the West style, this like hoppy one, is with Citra hops, because like Citra is probably like the most popular, the most common American hop worldwide. So I think a lot of breweries will have it. So that's why we assume that it's going to be like the best to have. But still, we are open to any like different ideas, like make it your style. We're just giving you the direction, because the main idea is not just like making another beer style. It's just about supporting Ukraine. That's what we all need right now.
I can make a guess that you choose noble hops and citra because you have it on stock as well as we do.
Actually, like the noble hops edition recipe was made by my friends, co-brewers in 42 North, at 42 North Brewing Company, Buffalo, Western New York. And I decided to go with Citra because, yeah, Citra is always available. Actually, by the way, I don't have it in stock right now, but still.
So have you asked suppliers, is it any chances to get ingredients in Kiev?
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. I was hoping to get it from Kharkiv, but you know what's happening in Kharkiv, it's horrible. So I quit this idea. So I'm trying to get it from Europe.
I have another question for you. I read a post on Instagram about the kind of fund called Resolve.
Yes.
You did. Yeah. Could you tell a little bit more about it?
That's actually what I just said previously. That's a story about Resolve beer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's an open source collaboration called Resolve. You can join it just by like going to resolveukrainebeer.com, and you can join it online and brew the beer just to support Ukraine, because all the funds for only for humanitarian needs for people of Ukraine. And that's a Keller beer. That's a Keller beer that we just discussed. That's a Resolve fundraising.
And it will be ready in a week, something like this.
Yeah, most of the breweries already made it, but we are still waiting for some to join in. So like those 25 breweries will have a presentation probably like in 1 week. But anyway, they do the pre-sale because they know that Ukraine shouldn't wait. Our people shouldn't wait while the beer is still aging. So they are starting the pre-sales like on the way, moment we are speaking right now.
Is it allowed to sell beer in Kiev now?
I don't think so. No, it's not.
What are you feeling? Because it's related to me. What are your feelings when it's prohibited to sell and drink beer, of course, and you have a few hundred hectoliters of beer and you can use them? Do you feel this power?
No, it's not just like about power. It's just like people are suffering a lot, and this whole situation is from like one way it's just tragic, but I still have a lot of hope and a lot of thoughts about our victory. So it's not about that we have beer and we cannot sell it. I understand that tough times that we are overcoming right now, and I'm happy that some people in Ukraine already have the chance to sell and drink beer, because you know, like beers suffered and like struggled everything, and like during the wars, during the plague, during all the history worldwide. So beer will always stay beer and overcome everything. So I'm not afraid about the situation with the beer, but I just hope that this whole situation will end with our victory pretty soon. That's the most thing that I'm worried about right now.
I hope everyone understood that it was a joke about the power. That's about we spoke with you today. That making beers, that's our job, our life, and we're trying to do something, because we cannot join army, and we're trying to do something to make a profit and send this profit to supporting our people here and people who are in need, and the army as well. So that's our.
I totally agree, because our income to economy, because that's another field of war that we are using right now. We have to support our business, local business, economy, and that's very extremely important.
Maybe
I'm
we'll
glad that you are doing the
last
right
question,
now.
and we will make a bridge between our next topic, because here in Lviv it's prohibited to sell beer. I understand all the points of government, but here we have more few thousand people who want drink beer, not hard alcohol. They're not going to be drunk. They just want to drink few glasses of beer to let stress away, and because they want, and they are ready to spend money for this. So there are two options: or they will keep this money in their pockets, or they will buy something. And here are also nice people. We will not buy new cars and new apartments here. I understand that all the business is working for our victory. And here, because of prohibition to sell alcohol, we cannot do our business here. And we cannot support our staff first, and we cannot support army with it. So it's big discussion here. Is it a smart decision or not? What do you think about it?
For me,
New
it's
cars
kind
and new
of
apartments here. I understand that all the business is working for our victory. And here, because of prohibition to sell alcohol, we cannot do our business here.
I'm on repeat.
We
Something
cannot
like this.
support. Oh, no, it's okay. It was something strange.
probably something happened with internet connection. Still here. Yes, it's kind of controversial because I'm not supporting it and I'm not against it. I understand that economy should work and people should spend on money they want, and that's their contribution to global fighting against. So I'm definitely not against it. So I think that at some point they should take off this prohibitions and allow local breweries to sell beer, because at some point it will be important for people who just want to have like a bit of relaxation, and for the local business that paying taxes and helping our economy to still survive and to be stronger, to support our army, and that is really important.
Okay, thank you very much, Nazar. I hope it will be мирне небо. I don't know how to translate it in English. I hope you will sleep well today without any alarms. Take care. Thank you very much.
Peace.
Peace.
So we will soon have another fellow brewer from almost from Kyiv. There is a village a bit more to the northwest, I believe, from Kyiv. It's called Underwood Brewery, and we are waiting for Zhenya, the co-owner of the brewery, to join us on Zoom. Here you are. Okay, here you are. Can you hear us, Zhenya? Okay. So would you like to share a few words about where your brewery is? How is it? How active is the war zone? And just tell a little bit about the brewery. Tell a little bit about your expectations and the situations you are in.
Hello, Yuri. Hello, guys. Nice to see you. I really miss you a lot, and happy to see you. Talking about the situation about our brewery and about the region where it's located, it's hard to talk now. Because our brewery is fully blocked with military forces. From one side, we have Ukrainian military forces. From other side, this I don't know how to call these forces, the other forces. So actually, a couple of days ago, a huge bomb, 500 kilo bomb, landed near the brewery, but luckily it didn't blow up. So it was some kind of mistake or something. So it's remaining lying in the forest near the brewery, and luckily the building is still standing. And village was once took over by the Russian militaries, but then Ukrainian militaries took it back, and since then it still it remains Ukrainian. But as you know, our brewery is called Underwood because of the wood, the forest that is really near the brewery, and now this forest is full of Russian gangsters. So that is the real situation. Nothing is clear. Nothing is I don't know what to say next. The brewery stands full of beer, but we can't take it out. So we are trying to work on this, but of course the brewery is empty. All the brewery team is somewhere else. Some of the brewery team joined the local defense, and some of our team is in the western part of Ukraine. And this is the reality we are living in now. Yeah.
Okay, so we all believe that our military force, our army, will remedy the situation. What I've heard from latest news, I don't know, it was not from official sources, but I heard that the Russians are surrounded now in north to Kiev. They are surrounded in the area of Bucha, Irpin, and Hostomel. So they are really encircled from three sides by the Ukrainian army, and to me, this is I wouldn't really expand on it because it was not from official sources. So we will wait for the official media to say something about this. Hopefully, just for those who who are not familiar with the geography of Ukraine too much, which is probably most of our guests today, why the situation is most problematic to them. Talking about Kyiv, the situation is most problematic around Kyiv to the north, because this is the Russian forces actually entered from the territory of Belarus. And it's from the north, straight from the north. So they went really south to get passing by Chernobyl and then en route to Kyiv. And this is the most difficult situation around Kyiv. It's also difficult in the far east of Ukraine, Mariupol, and also in the south, Kherson, Mykolaiv. I think Mykolaiv is freed from them. Mykolaiv, I'm not sure.
Partly, Mykolaiv is partly free, partly occupied.
Okay. People locals really protest. They have meetings virtually every day. They protest with Ukrainian flags. They express total unhappiness with the Russians on our territory. I think Russia is probably now slowly realizing how big a mistake they made with this. I think they probably never expected such a forceful resistance by the Ukrainian army, and they underestimated the reaction of the West. They did not probably think that this would be so furious and so determined. And I think, as I said last Victory Brew, I think it will, of course, for the Ukrainians here, it will get worse before it gets better. But our general feeling is that it's the end of Russia the way we know it. There will, of course, be Russia. This bad neighbor won't go anywhere. It's millions of people. By the way, one of the opinions is that 140 million population of Russia is a hugely overestimated figure. Might be. because the way things are done in Russia, I would believe that this could be a too big a figure. But anyway, millions and actually, or even if it's 100 million, it won't go anywhere. It's something that we have to live with. We have to, as Ukrainians, we have to understand that there is no quick end, quick definite end to the situation. There might be some end. There might be something that we can have a convincing victory here in Ukraine. We can throw them out. We can take them. We can take them prisoners, or we can kick them out of our land. But we have to understand, like many countries understood already, like Finland or Poland, the easier way in a way, yeah, and countries like Georgia, Moldova, and others the hard way. We have to understand that it's not going anywhere, and we will have to, like the Israelis, we will have to live with this war for decades to come. It will have different forms. Our task now is to make Russia as weak as possible. And this reminds me of an ironic expression, which is, to my mind, is very true now, here and now. It's not important it's not only important to win, but it's also important that others lose. It's really important that not only that Ukraine wins this war, which we will, but it's also important that Russia has a absolutely convincing defeat, political, moral, economical, all kinds of defeat, because the more damage Russia bears now, the more damage Russia inflicts on itself by its stupid invasion. It will save more Ukrainian lives. It will save more children, more civilians, more families from losing homes, from death, from wounding, and from huge displacement, like of people here in the middle of Europe. Like 3 million people go one way, 400,000 people go another way, and this was all not necessary. This was an invasion of a sovereign state, of a separate country that took its own way of development, a democratic way, a good, peaceful, normal way, and it was invaded by a fake country that stole its identity, stole its name, and it is not even capable of providing itself with a freely elected leader, which is a total bloody shame. But my point is, we will have to live with it. We have to remain strong as long as this war is still on, and we will have to remain strong after this war is finished. We will have to learn how to deal with terrorism that will come later. We will have to deal with the cyber attacks from Russia. We will have to deal with media war that they will be waging at us, at the whole world. And this is something, you know, this is the reality we all woke up to on the early morning of the 24th of February, 2022. Anyway, we will deal with it. Why we do this victory series is a very simple thing. It's we turned to means, as a small brewery, we turned to means that are familiar to us. We are not politicians. We are not. We are small craft brewer, and we want to do small craft brewing. We want to grow. We want to be a bigger small craft brewing, and that's all we wanted. But as long as the war started, we need to do something else, and we need to do these online brews. We need you guys to know what happens here. We want you to understand that we are absolutely convinced that we will win this war. We will not stop until the last Russian cockroach is kicked out of this country. And that's all valid for people in the east of Ukraine who speak Russian. It's valid for people in the west of Ukraine who speak Ukrainian. It's valid for people who are Greek Catholic or Orthodox. It's valid for people of different ages, of different social status, of different sex, of different anything. 2 days ago or 1 day ago, a guy who has gone through Buchenwald camp, death camp in Germany in the Second World War. He was killed by the Russian missile in his own apartment. in Kharkiv in the east of Ukraine. This guy survived everything. He survived the Second World War. He survived years in a labor camp, in a Buchenwald labor camp that was survived by very few people. And this guy was finally caught by the Russian missile in his own apartment in peaceful city of Kharkiv. Can you believe that? This whole thing makes us very sad, but we all realize that we will have time to be sad. We will have time to be sad for many years. We will have to be sad. We will have to digest what actually happened, because we did not yet. We didn't even start. But now it's not time to divert our attention to this, to just be sad, to sit with a sad face and have no and see no future. Our future is good. We see that our future is good. We will win, and Ukraine will become a new country of development. It will become a new European blood, a new European development tiger. The way some countries in Asia were like 3 or 4 decades ago. That's all pretty much coming up. But we have to make sure we stand on the battlefield and win in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And then we will have time to count the dead people, to heal the wounded people, to provide all the support to those who suffered, to return mothers and kids from Poland, from Spain, from France, from Germany, from wherever, and rebuild this country. We are really, it really horrifies us to see the pictures of devastating bomb attacks on Kyiv, Kharkiv, Mariupol, Mykolaiv, Kherson, Sumy, Chernihiv. But to my mind, that is much less of a problem. We will rebuild all things. We will rebuild the infrastructure. We were already on a pretty good way from the side of infrastructure last couple of years, and we will rebuild it. And we will really remember people who gave their lives while escaping the battlefield or while trying to save their families. And Russians will be retaliated. We will make sure that not only the military Russians, but all those 140 millions of Russians, they bear that responsibility. Because Hitler was made possible not by himself, but he was made possible by millions of people. And this is the same in Russia. Putin is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that there is a country of cowards and zombies that made Putin possible. And even if Putin is assassinated or poisoned or whatever best way the KGB guys find to take him out, which I hopefully they will do it themselves, that is not going to be the end of the story, because we have a sick nation with sick minds, and that is something that is pregnant with problems for each of you guys, whether you are far or whether you are close. Well, of course, if you are close, that's much more dangerous. You are probably much safer in New Zealand or in Ushuaia or in the south of Argentina. Excuse my irony. But countries like Poland, Moldova, Czech Republic, any other, like Georgia, again, they are not in a safe place, because something what is happening is outside of logic. It's outside of common sense. It's when Russia invaded Crimea and took it over, and the world silently accepted this just by expressing the deep disturbance on this subject, then he understood that he can do other steps. And this is what we bear the results right now, because he took one finger, now he's taking the hand. But now Ukraine is 8 years past this, is not Ukraine then. At that time, Ukraine was a weak, wounded animal, because we were just coming to terms after the death of 120, 130 people in the middle of European Union of Kyiv at the street protests when Yanukovych, the former president, fled the country. So this is where we are, and we will definitely win this war. Back to our brew. We are probably in the whirlpool now.
Yep.
Yeah. So our
No, we already have transfer.
so we already have transfer to the CCT. Corey,
Corey, are you ready? Well, may I make a bad joke again? Back to Zhenya. Zhenya, you told us about this 500 kilo bomb near your brewery. Does it mean that occupators take your brewery as a strategic object that threaten Russia?
I don't think so. I think Russians, as they are running out of the missiles they can target directly, so they are starting using the aviation bomb that is uncontrolled. So they don't really understand. They can only pretend where the bomb will land, but they don't know for sure. I hope so, and I do believe in this because I don't know what is the idea, why should someone destroy a brewery which is not actually working. But on the other hand, in our village, the bread factory were totally destroyed. The bread factory was working, so it was feeding people, and it's destroyed, and couple of houses. Also a supermarket is destroyed. So maybe our brewery from the sky looks like some warehouse or something like this, but it definitely not looks up like manufacturing or a supermarket or something like this. So I think it was a coincidence that it landed near the brewery, but luckily it didn't blow up. Yeah.
I hope. Where is the next batch? When will be the next batch?
Well, I wish I could answer this question. Actually, I do want to do a next batch, but I really don't know when. No, really, Kiev is more or less the safe place, but our village is not definitely the same place, the safe place now to brew, or even to live, or even to stay.
I hope you can brew as soon as possible.
We hope so too.
People here need Kiev Lager.
Actually, we have a lot of Kiev Lager and other beers, and we are working on getting them out. So maybe in the nearest couple of days, if the situation won't turn worse, we'll manage to take some beers out.
Yeah. We are thinking. Igor discussed the fact that we have a prohibition of alcohol in Lviv, which is contrary to common sense. We are far away from the military operation. The city is full of journalists, and it's a peaceful, there is no street fighting, or there is no active fighting around here. We as Pravda Brewery, we have a number of small pubs. I think we have 9 remaining. We opened them at the start of COVID to be able to sell our beer, and we actually wanted to offer our taps. Each of 9 pubs has 8 taps, and we still intend to offer those taps to guest brewers, to people like you, to people like you, Nazar, and other guys from east and center of Ukraine. But we are still blocked by the prohibition of alcohol. We are actively working to take it out. Insider information it's really valid now. I have seen the signed document that the city forbids it, because we didn't even see this document for like 48 hours, but it's really forbidden. But we are enlisting Ukrainian Restaurant Association and Ukrainian Association of Independent Brewers to lobby for canceling this prohibition. and we might be canceling this. The city might be canceling this the end of this week. So, but we still have to wait until they really agree to this. Yeah, and then if you, Zhenya or Nazar, if you can bring out your beers from the dangerous areas, we will be selling this beer at basically at your price, whichever price you would like to put. It's a non-profit effort to try to support brewers in the area where we can support brewers, but we need to wait until this decision is made. I see Corey McGuinness. Corey is a nice in a nice outfit. Corey, good to see you. Are you ready to share a few thoughts?
Yes, I'm definitely ready.
Sorry, we can see something of glory on your head.
Aha.
I've been wearing this every day, I think, since the war started. Has it really been 26 days? Oh,
yeah, well,
Lord.
You should stay like this forever, you know.
I probably will, to be honest. I think with the face paint, it will probably just tattoo my forehead. So
yeah. I told you, you are one of the best Ukrainians.
I don't know if I believe that, but I'll still take your word for it.
Okay. So how is it at your side? What can you share with us?
I mean, in New York City, there's no war in that sense. Maybe on the subway or the metro, it's a little crazy, but nothing like you have. But you know, like,
so Canada did not invade you? No, it's okay so far.
No. Maybe the homeless population a little bit, but nothing like that.
Okay.
But no, here it's been good. I mean, a little overwhelming, you know, with our whole start with this victory series, but you know, it's been amazing just to see the community rally around this. I think that's the most important thing, and especially one of the things I love about the industry itself is just the amount of people who are coming together to support something so unified. You know, there's no divisiveness that you find, especially in the United States right now with politics and whatnot. You know, within the brewing community, there are political factions and whatnot, but to see everyone rallied around it together for this kind of support is incredible. You know, I have people, not even just in the US, I have people all over the world, from Hong Kong, who they're in their own, you know, political atmosphere at the moment, similar to Ukraine. I have people from England contacting me, just asking questions about the recipes and things like that. It's amazing, you know, and I think the first couple of weeks was just crazy trying to get everything together. But then now that things have calmed down on the people asking questions, looking at it and seeing what has been created because of this is out of this world. It's amazing.
Super, super. What we have seen is, I think at this point of time, we have 150 breweries and more joining one way or another. And every day on this page on the Facebook victory series of Pravda, which you kindly provided, we see that more and more breweries brew their beer. Bigger breweries, smaller breweries, we see more support. We see more requests for more labels. Some people in the UK brewed Zenik, which makes us kind of proud, because Zenik is a beer we also love very much, and we, as you remember very well, we spent many days trying to get Zenik the way we finally have it. And
I'll never forget.
Yeah. I'll tell a bit of a couple of words about Zenik from my side, and Corey, if you can share yours. You know, my partners are one of Ukraine's biggest restaurant chains called Fest, which I mentioned about an hour ago. And Yurko, my partner, he was one of those who opened today's conversation. And we, as Pravda, when we opened, we did not have enough capacity to serve our 600-700 seat tap room in the city center at that time. And also at the same time, we to service all the restaurants that Fest has in the center of Lviv. So we just started as a niche craft beer, a bit more expensive, a bit more special, a bit more bitter, and a bit more strange for most customers. But eventually we wanted to make beer which for common folks who never had any craft beer, we wanted to pave the way into the beautiful world of nice, unfiltered, unpasteurized beers. So we wanted to have a beer that would be fresh, unfiltered, unpasteurized, refreshing, carefully bitter, not too bitter, but also not just your normal mass lager. It had to be an ale. We wanted to have an ale because it turns faster, and we also love ales. And we got together managers of many restaurants. Some of the restaurants, they are huge places, or if they're not huge, they at least have a big turnover of seats, like Ribs restaurant or other places. And we had some ideas from restaurant managers how this beer should look like. And we got these ideas together and started to brew various batches of Zenic, trying to get to that crispy feeling of beer when it's drinkable and refreshing on one side, but still feels a bit special. And I think, I don't know, Corey, we probably made like at least 10 or 15 batches. Easy. Before we really nailed down the recipe the way we thought it would work. Of course, it varies a lot depending on the Ukrainian malt and hop availability. But I think over the last couple of years, we really learned how, first of all, they improved in quality. And I think we also learned how to deal with hops and malts between November and into the next November.
Yeah, no, I think the most difficult part was just trying to get consistent with the batches. Was tough because I think in Ukraine at that time, hops in the quantities that we wanted in just the harvest in general for hops and malt was just really difficult. I think that was the thing I struggled with the most, coming from, just an industry where consistency is already, tough to get the same thing, especially on small batches. So, I think that was my biggest frustration for sure.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Last time you drink Zenic?
It was a couple weeks ago with Ed. Actually, I had it in the can, and it tasted just like I remember. It was beautiful.
By the way, thank you, Corey. Thank you, Jenny, for taking up our challenge Unshaved for the victory.
Of course. No, I think I've had the beard for a long time, but I've been letting it grow since the war started too. So
I did notes before the stream, and the topic I want to speak with you is how the brand of Ukraine changed since the start of war. So before we know that before war started, the main topic of Ukraine was corruption and corruption. Okay. So
and then corruption and probably talking about Hunter Biden and oil and whatnot. But was that Prisma? Is that the company, the Ukrainian company? But I think, when I was out there, I don't think people even knew of Ukraine in the first place. When I first told them that I was brewing out there, they were like, what? Like Ukraine? And, explaining to them just where the craft beer industry was in that moment was tough too. Because I remember, I'm sure Dima remembers this, but they took me to a bar in Lviv, and I asked for a beer, and they were like, what would you like? And I'm coming from Portland, where, there's hundreds of choices for beer. And they're like, oh, we have light and we have dark beer, and that's it. And I was like, okay, I'll take a dark beer, I guess. And so it was a very different industry. It was just blossoming at that moment. And so now it's become, it's gone a long ways even since I've been there. And now it's even crazier because I think people now know where Ukraine is, at least relative to the rest of the world, but also, you know, what y'all did with the Molotov cocktails, like that put Pravda on the map. You know, that the whole picture just went viral, and the whole article and everything about you guys, you know, helped tremendously. And from there, starting, you know, taking that energy and creating this worldwide collaboration, it was necessary. I think otherwise, you know, people would have seen Ukraine as a war zone more than anything else. But now it's become a place of hope and refuge for, you know, what will, you know, for centuries to come. And people will now, I think, you know, after the war is over and after Ukraine wins, I think people will go there, and so they'll support the economy, and they'll see that Ukraine is full of rich culture and amazing people.
Ooh. Are you working now?
Yes, I am. I'm taking a break, but yes, I'm working at the moment. But for anything for you, Igor, of course.
I knew it. Thank you, Corey. Do you have any questions to Corey?
When you come here,
Oh, I will come as soon as possible. I think I wanted to come in May for the craft beer and vinyl. That was my plan. But now we will see. I think I have to fly into Poland, and then I would have to cross the border into Ukraine. But we will see how that goes if I wanted to do.
nice.
Now it's helmet is given on a Polish and Ukraine border, so you'll be safe. Okay, Corey, thank you. Do you have something to say to us? I cannot hear you.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we are. I was on mute. I miss you all very much. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Slava Ukraine.
See you.
See you.
Slava. See you.
See you.
Okay, I see we have some questions here, especially from Andrew. Yeah, it's city Serenian Lviv, but it's beer here. We cannot. It's like our baby, so we cannot leave it alone. What is the limit on non-alcoholic beer here in Ukraine? Everything under 0.5 is non-alcoholic. No, if you have 1% by volume, it's beer. No, it's alcohol. Yeah, okay. Non-alcoholic beer is everything under 0.5 alcohol by volume. So it's looking okay. Vern, thank you. If I know some breweries, I will add them. Okay. Have we already discussed about prohibition of selling beer here in Lviv? What do we think about it? Okay.
So, я пацан собі взяв, це просто шикарно. So, talking about prohibition, you know, as I mentioned, we are trying to take it away now, and we are also mobilizing our European distributor network to try to get some beer out of the country. We already have some orders from Poland. We are putting together the plan to transport it outside of Ukraine. And I'm also talking to some of the Belgian breweries that work for third parties on the way to produce our brands, our recipes in Europe to avoid lengthy and expensive custom clearance once we transport and transport costs once we transport from here to EU. Ukraine, as most of you know, Ukraine is not yet part of the EU. We hope to be part of the EU within a couple of years. We're already well on track. But still now the custom clearance is still a headache Transport is a headache, especially at the times of war. Pricing wise and procedure wise on the border, it's not actually the funniest place to be, the border between Ukraine and Poland now. Trucks can get stuck there for a couple of days. However, there is a nice change from 1 and 2 weeks ago. There were huge crowds and unexpected queues on the border. People could stay 1, 2, 3 days at the border. Hundreds of volunteers were feeding people, where they had heated tents along the road so that people who wanted to escape to the safety of Europe can heat up, keep warm, and eat something. Now it's kind of calmed down. It may still take hours, maybe half a day to get through the border. But supposedly what we see from the news, it's much better now compared to what it was even a week or 2 weeks and say 3 weeks ago. So we are looking at different ways to actually turn our stock into some kind of money, because we can be enthusiastic, can help the army for as long as we last. But our brewers, they have families and they need to feed their families. They need to keep relatively okay. Nobody expects probably a full pay over this troublesome period, but at least we want to make sure that people get at least bigger part of the salary home over. We paid the corresponding salary over February already. But March and April, we still don't know what happens. So that's why we are making our effort, especially as our home market here and here in Lviv and home market in most of Ukraine is blocked for our deliveries. But it's okay. It takes time. Europe takes time. It's more slow. It's more, it's more bureaucratic in a way. It's funny to say, but Ukraine is now an example of non-bureaucracy. It's an example of quick decision-making at all levels, at the level of the government, at the level of economic reform. Everything is really quick, really fast. And if you just, if you could just take away the news about the bombings and about the death of civilians and kids, and just look at what happens now in the country in terms of tax reform, in terms of the speed of decision making, it's almost a dream country to be in. And we all feel that this will be a different country in 1 year, and even more different country in 2 years and 3 years. And we will really have to, the Ukrainians have to continue and to stay that united and that energized as we all are in the face of the war. Unfortunately, it's not the best reason to be energized. It's not the best, of course. It's not the ideal thing. But if it takes such a reason to be really fighting for your country, fighting for your independence, for your freedom, okay, we did not choose this reason. It has come on to us, and we have to work with it, and we have to win. We have to expel the aggressor, and we are already doing this as actively as we can. So soon we will be, as a Pravda brewery, we will be in Europe, in bottles, in cans, in kegs. I hope my fellow brewers, friends who joined this conversation, Nazar from 2085, Yevhen from the Underwood Brewery, and I hope many other brewers that we all know very well, the brewers that visit our craft beer and vinyl music festival, we all should be uniting here also as small brewers. We all should be offering our products to European distributors, to European pubs, importers, because it's very nice to brew our beers. It's nice to brew to use our visuals. It's good to send 50 or 500 whatever euro of support, But I think long-term and mid-term, the best support for the Ukrainian beer community is to have our beers on tap in craft pubs in all Europe. You know, every average city in Europe has a craft pub. You know, my family had a good luck of visiting at least 3 Italian smaller cities by budget airlines in this autumn. Really, like not huge cities like Pisa with the Pisa Tower and okay, Venice, a very special place. Bari, a smallish town on the Italian coast. And every time we see that there is a craft pub, even if the city is only 100 or 50,000 people. And the best support now for the Ukrainian craft beer community will be for Europe to open its taps, to open its pubs to the better of Ukrainian beers. We are still at the stage of forming ourselves, as actually most of small craft brewers in Europe. You know, you have brewers like okay, like Brewdog, which is not much of a craft brewery anymore, but still it made it paved the way for many other breweries by its prominent marketing. You have people like Baladan. In Italy, you have other prominent breweries. Ukraine is still kind of finding its path on the international and European market as a craft beer country. But being the co-organizer of Craft Beer and Vinyl Music Festival, which has seen 9 editions already over 5 or 6 years, I definitely see a big quality progress in craft Ukrainian beer. So there will come a day when we will be asking you guys to ask your distributors, and I'm addressing European and US and international brewers. We'll be asking you to ask your distributors to get Ukrainian beer on your taps in your hometowns, because that would be the best support. We are now all working in life-saving mode. We are working on reserves, physically and money-wise. But one point of time, we will have to be on the rails of normal commerce, normal life, and we hope that this will happen very soon. Okay, we will be taking a very short break, like a couple of minutes, to read your questions and try to answer some of them as we continue. Try to digest some of them and see what we can answer immediately. In the meantime, if Igor, you want to say something, feel free. If not, just let's be silent for a second. Just read.
I'm waiting for questions. That's why we never had time, but war made us to make our own logistics. And tomorrow we take our car to go to Chernobyl to bring beer to our clients there.
Okay, so Ambridge Brewery, that must be Joe. You were asking, is that sugar being added? Yes, this was just normal white sugar being added to our brew. It's a strong ale. By the way, I mentioned there was a Belgian type strong ale. I think I made a mistake. It's not Belgian type. It's US 05 yeast, I think, for Putin. Was, yeah. Dima, tam US 05?
Now it's yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Putin actually migrated from being a Belgian style strong ale, originally even a triple. It migrated into being strong ale with US 05 yeast by Fermentis. I see Andriy here. Andriy Korol, hello, greetings from our brew house. Can you hear me, Andriy? Probably not. Okay, okay, so
I'm here. I just wasn't ready to speak.
Okay. So sugar, Dylan You will dry hop your Putin today. It's very, very good. Corey is asking if Dima will ever age. Not a chance. As I mentioned at the previous, broadcast last week, Dima is only getting younger and younger. He's now 127 years old, and he's really getting just younger. And he actually swam 10 kilometers in the south coast of Turkey only a couple of months ago, showing a ridiculously fast time of 3 hours, under 3 hours. 3 hours. You know, imagine swimming, open water swimming in almost a storm in the south coast of Alania, and that's what Dima did only 3 or 4 months ago. Okay.
He's a prototype of Belgian bottom character.
Exactly. So, Corey is asking, what's Igor's favorite beer, and why is it Lvivske beer?
I know the answer.
You already answered this question. At what temperature? It's probably John's question from Ambridge Brewery in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. What temperature does the Whirlpool get to in Celsius? Answered. Okay.
93, 96.
93, 96 degrees Celsius. Let me just scroll down the question.
Last question I didn't answer was Slavo Ukrainian from Corey.
Okay. Yeah, cities. What's the limit on alcohol in beer? Yes, Andrei, you are right, 0.5%. It's 0.55, not 1. Vern, thank you very much for heads up. Those looking for summer cooperation. Bruce students
Jurko, w mikrofon, bo duże pogano чути.
Okay, Bruce students from Niagara College showing their support, brewing Ukrainian red wheat ale today. By the way, I talked this morning to Lior from Beer Bazaar Brewery in Israel, and he was showing me the color of red eyes that they brewed according to our recipe, and I was really amazed at the super nice color, exactly the color that you would expect from red eyes. As I mentioned last time, red eyes is American red ale. And it's really in the middle of between session beer and special beer. It's still, to me, the controlling share goes towards session beer. It's still a drinkable beer, but probably not on a hot summer day, because it's 5.8% alcohol. But it's if you have a colder autumn or beginning of spring like now here. That's a perfect beer for this. Okay. Okay, we have, I see here, we have Andrei Korol. Andrei, I know it was not agreed with you, but if you are ready to say a few words about your business in Lviv and about your expectations on the alcohol prohibition, you can do this if you are ready. If you rather not, say so, and I'll get off your back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. No, I wasn't ready. Okay, so about me. To everyone here, I'm from Ukraine, but I lived in Canada for over 30 years, so that's why my accent is a little bit on the better side. I own a small pub downtown Lviv right now, and as far as the expectations, I think like everyone else, we don't know what to expect. We've been doing everything we can since the war started. We haven't closed the door. We've just sort of been giving away coffee and tea for free, and our employees kind of work from the tip jar, because I've had to try to figure out a new business concept right now, what to do going forward. But yeah, that's about where we are right now, hoping that we can, sort of try to return to normal soon. But I think for the time being, It sounds like they they want to keep this prohibition going for a while. Just the sounds of the from the sounds of the mayor. I know Yuri and a lot of other people are trying to fight this right now, and hopefully we get some luck with light alcohol at least up to a certain percentage. But I don't know. For the time being, maybe we're going to be beer culture cafe and go that direction.
Okay. Thank you, Andriy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just check what items we still have left here. As I mentioned before, we are making this stream a lot shorter. We started with actually 3 hours for the first couple of streams, but it makes not so much sense. If someone wants to just drop in for a couple of minutes, it's always good to do it within 1 or 2 hours. We are always a little late to announce our next brew because we are simply never 100% sure if we can really make it on that day. As we talk now, it actually became already a feature of this broadcast. Last time we had an air alarm when we brewed, and today at this point of time we also have an air alarm, which is not cancelled yet. It started already just over 1 hour ago, and this air alarm normally goes off in the west of Ukraine when the reconnaissance detect Russian airplanes taking off from the airports around Ukraine. And it's very unpredictable which way they're heading. To me, I think this is already an alarm number 3 or 4 today. Not yet cancelled. So yeah, that's our reality here. Nevertheless, the city itself has not been bombed except for aircraft renovation facility about 3 or 4 days ago. Nobody was injured. Fortunately. But this does not mean that the attack cannot come any air alarm. So most people still go downstairs to the basement to hide with kids. Very often the air alarm strike goes at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have people in my apartment who escaped east of Ukraine and northeast of Ukraine. They have small kids on their hands, so they really take trouble to go downstairs 5 levels to the cellar, wait 1-2 hours, then go back to sleep. That's not something that we are used to, you know. Even in the Soviet Union, when the more aged of us, or let's say more experienced of us, lived with the threat of constant war between the Soviet Union and the outside world, we still did not have that kind of a situation. And so the war is really catching us, and the tragedy is also in the fact that you still have people who survived the Second World War, people who had to hide, had to escape, suffered as kids in the Second World War, and now the war is catching back on them. This is especially valid for East Ukraine and for the Central Ukraine. And this is reality we have to live now with. But it's not something that's going to deter us from winning this war. As I said, and I will say it again and again, I said it the previous times, it's not only the Ukrainian army fighting, it's everyone in Ukraine fighting as an IT guy, fighting as a baker, fighting as even as a taxi driver, because you transport refugees or you transport humanitarian aid, or you go to the east and try to evacuate people from troubled areas. It's all, it's all kind of settling down into place now, because when you have the emergency, it's a little bit like millions of headless chicken running in your yard, but now it's already much more structured, people who can do something, they do some things. People who can do logistics planning, they do logistics planning. People who are drivers, because initially, you could have, local entrepreneurs driving car to the border, etc., instead of really utilizing their skills and experience. And that's fine if you just start, if you are in a high alertness mode, if you just do something just for the sake of doing and helping right here, right now. Now it's really getting sorted out in compartments, people who can, by the way, I just mentioned logistics, the way the logistics goes into Ukraine with humanitarian aid and with weapons, and the logistics outside of Ukraine with the refugees, it's been almost a miracle the way it has organized itself. With the help of our Polish friends who made it a lot easier for goods to come into Ukraine. With the help of the reaction was extremely fast. It was very easy to enter. Suddenly, COVID pandemics really disappeared. There is even a going joke here in Ukraine saying, "Yeah, I want to relax. Let's talk about COVID." Let's just talk about COVID because it's a totally different stress level. It's a relaxation level. It's not a stress level. And what eventually can actually happen is because Ukrainians have this extreme self-organization regime now, which has now passed its first chaotic stage. It's as I said, and if we stay that alert and that quick and that efficient under very, very stressful circumstances, if you can retain this effectiveness and efficiency in the years to come, this can be a very, very different country, a country with a set of skills that's unseen in the world over the last many, many years. Because I don't think the last such effort of that huge size, with so much people and goods moving in and out with so much efficiency, it's probably unseen over the last, I don't know, 50 or whatever years, especially taking into account technologies that support this whole thing, the reconnaissance efforts by our partners in tracking down the enemies, in the government being extremely flexible in taking down barriers to take people out and to get goods in. This can be an extremely useful and unrivaled learning experience for many, many people here. And remember, it's a big country. It's just reminding to people who are not familiar with Ukraine. Ukraine is the biggest country in geographical continental Europe, which is 100% in Europe. Russia is a bigger territory. It's actually, Russia is 1/6 of the territory still. But I believe just being a small craft brewery, we believe that this whole situation will start Russia's decomposition because many other places, well, actually Russia is a collection of territories taken over by blood and sword and suffering. And I'm quite sure that the territorial disputes will flare up in different parts of Russia because Tatarstan, far east of Russia, many other republics or autonomous republics in Russia will not want to be part of this evil empire, will want to choose their own way. And now the Ukrainians are showing them that it's possible. It's possible to stand up. It's possible to defend, to make your case and defend your land, defend your ideology, your democracy, because Russia, the way it has existed over the last, I don't know, since the fall of the Soviet Union, and actually Russia is pretty much the Soviet Union. The way it existed, it proved morally baseless. And eventually, if you have a moral void, then you have economical void, you have a political void. You can hold the tyranny and you can hold the dictatorship for decades, yeah, for 20 years, 30 years, maybe 50 years, maybe even 100 years, if the tyrannies and the dynasties of tyrants change and replace each other. But this cannot last forever. It's not this kind of world. It's not 500 years ago. It's not 1,000 years ago when there was a different world. It's a totally different world now. And I'm quite happy and proud to be Ukrainian. And I'm happy and proud to live in this very tragic, but very promising and hopeful times. But I'm almost talking like a politician because it's very, it's something that that we all realize now. We're all going through this realization of you know of this, and I would prefer, of course, not to think about this. I would prefer to say, okay, you bastards, you stay in your country. You do whatever you want. You develop or you don't develop. You have your Putin. You can kiss him on his lips as long as you want. And as long as we have a big solid wall between us and Russia, I'd probably never think about this. I'd probably never do a victory brew series in a country which is at war. But they invaded us. When we slept, they invaded us. They killed almost 150 kids. They killed thousands of civilians. They suffer huge losses, but they still go on fighting. They still go on trying to attack peaceful cities. They cannot attack our military, so they attack the helpless people, the civilians. And they will find their end on the Ukrainian soil. They will not escape. They will either be prisoners of war, they'll either surrender or they will die. And this is absolutely sure. If it takes, now it took them almost, well, between 15 and 16,000 dead people and about 30,000 wounded, they cannot fight. If they need double that to stop, we will make sure they'll have double of that. They already lost more people than they lost, I don't remember exactly the figure, but they lost more people than in all wars that the Soviet Union and Russia was fighting in Afghanistan, both Chechen wars, in Georgian war, and in a smaller war in Transnistria, in basically what is actually Moldova. And if they want more, they'll get more. Here we are, ending the double batch of Putin Huilo, the beer which seems to be very kind of contemporary and modern given the situation now. But we created this beer in 2015, actually exactly 7 years ago, because this was already the time when Putin used the weakness of our country to invade Crimea and start a war in East Ukraine. As usual, we don't know what happens next. We don't know what happens this night or next morning. So we cannot firmly announce the next Victory Brew number 4. We have another difficulty. because we cannot sell beer in our home market. Our tanks are full of beer. We are trying to sell it elsewhere, to empty the tanks and have place where to brew. So stay in touch, stay on that page, go in regularly on the Facebook page, try to follow us there. We thank you. We want to thank you for participation. Every 5 minutes of your time matter. Every word of support on the Facebook, Instagram, Zoom, or YouTube translation is very dear to us. We hope you stay with us. We hope you brew our beers. Always stay in touch through Pravda's social media pages. We are thinking with Igor whether it makes sense to make more recipes available. If so, please do tell us. But otherwise, keep brewing, keep thinking of us. If you can afford it, keep donating. And thank you very much. And hopefully see you next